And welcome back to the week of Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Alfonso Fett, who asked the question, who would win a fight, John Constantine or Jason Voorhees? Okay, let's get the obvious question out of the answer here. Is there any way in a physical confrontation John Constantine could go up against Jason Voorhees? The correct answer to that is no. There's no version of John Constantine let me phrase that. There's no version of Jason Voorhees that is physically weaker than John Constantine. Even the weakest version of Jason Voorhees, which I would argue is probably maybe the first few films Jason. Well, but that ultimately is Jason X, or Jason Goes to Hell, so that's the demon Jason. So it's arguably then the movie version of Jason, who's still a brick shithouse of a human being. So yeah, there's no way John's going to be able to beat this guy in a physical confrontation. But that's not what this confrontation would be. Clearly, John is a magician. He's a sorcerer. Now, it also depends if you go more with, say, the John Constantine you get in, like, the Justice League, or you get, say, in the actual comics, who can do legitimate magic. Like, he's not, like, incapable of doing legitimate magic, but is more of a con artist, a guy who uses more subtle magic to trick people. Like, there's one scenario where I remember he's talking with a demon. I don't know if it's like Satan or whatever, but he's talking with a demon, and he turned a thing of water into beer, and they're just having to drink and just drinking. And eventually, Demon's like, "Well, I'm gonna get doing this. Yeah, too bad for one thing, mate." And it's like, "What's that?" "Yeah, see, I used a little modest spell to turn this pool into beer. It turns out this pool was holy water." And it's just like, "What?" And then it turned it back into holy water, and he just drank all of it. Just basically burned him out. But yeah, he's mastered all the magic that Europe had to offer and went to America, trained under Nick Necro, a notable magician, and skilled in various forms of magic, and most notably black magic, a dangerous and malevolent sort of magic that is known to come at a high cost of its practitioner. He can astral project, chlorokinesis, cryokinesis, or chronokinesis, manipulate temporarily stop time, cosmic awareness, demon summoning, obviously, dimensional travel, divination, disintegration, enhanced senses, obviously using magic, energy construct creation. Okay, come on. There we go. Energy construct creation, energy projection, including things like eldritch blast, electroblast, photokinesis, bright winding light, exorcism, illusion casting, infection. Can allows him to poison the ice in a person's drink, killing them. Invisibility, mind control, necromancy, power absorption. He can temporarily steals powers from Shazam, which is impressive. Pyrokinesis, normally using something like his lighter or something like that. Sigil magic, basically creating a sigil, which can be powerful enough apparently to kill God. Spirit ward creation, telekinesis, and teleportation. He also has immense abilities in deception, which wouldn't really work here. Hypnosis, indomitable will, intimidation, investigation, multilinguistic, occultism, prestidigitation, and singing. This is a guy who once created a illusion so strong it actually fooled Darkseid of all people. So yeah, this guy is no joke. But the problem here, for Jason anyway, or if we're Constantine, is the fact that is any of this going to really matter against how many forms of Jason, really? Because look, when you really break it down, you have the comic version of Jason, who is nearly impossible. His regeneration is so powerful, he got like chopped in half, and in a few moments he was able to go like, okay, I got to heal up a little bit. Okay, we're good. Uber Jason once plucked out a piece of what was left of his own brain. And stuck another piece of brain that was supposed to actually be his. I can't remember exactly what was going on, but all I know is he put a hole in his head and be like, there's brain, good. So yeah, and Uber Jason, or Comic Jason, is strong enough to like throw trees. He's skilled enough to take down a helicopter by shooting the pilot. Yeah, Comic Jason is no joke. And then you obviously, I'm going backwards here. Uber Jason, who is basically Jason Voorhees on like metal steroids, strong enough to rip through sheet metal, throw a giant tree and impale someone with it, and survive re-entry into the planet's atmosphere. Like, this Jason is nuts powerful. Then you have like Jason, Freddy versus Jason, who I do count as a separate Jason, although he's technically in continuity with the Jason X Jason, because obviously Jason X, sorry, with the Jason Goes to Hell Jason, because at the end of that movie, Freddy grabbed his face mask, and that's where you lead into Freddy versus Jason. So, I mean, really, I guess I should be counting the two of those together. I haven't for all this time, but I guess in theory I should be. I don't know, because he doesn't necessarily follow the same rule. I mean, he seems to follow mostly the same rules, but he was dead for God knows how long, and then he just came back because Freddy brought him back from hell. I don't know. Put it in the comments below if you think I should just include those two. Freddy versus Jason and Jason Goes to Hell Jason. For now, I'm going to keep them separate, but yeah. And still, they're both pretty much the same, although Jason Goes to Hell Jason, we know, has demonic possession, and in his world, could only be killed by the blood of the Voorhees, with a special dagger. Now, granted, we are dealing with a sorcerer who could definitely use his magic to exorcise the demon or whatever. And then you have the human version Jason from the reboot, who is the only Jason who can actually move pretty fast, who legitimately can, just run you down, and is very much a woodsman, all that. Yeah. But, yeah, there is also the whole thing about Jason teleporting that needs to be addressed. Now, in the game, I believe you can teleport, if I'm not mistaken, but remember, the game's not canon to anything. So using that as an excuse is just not, you can't do that. You can't use that as an excuse at all. It's like, but in the game, yeah, but it's a game, and it's not canon to anything. But in the movies, they do imply some sort of teleportation. The problem for me is this. I think Jason, A needs to know where he's going. He can't just think of a place and go to it. Like, he couldn't go to Manhattan just by teleporting there. He's not Nightcrawler. But if he has teleportation, and that's still a big question, it's implied that he has teleportation, but it's more that I think it's just the fact that you can't escape him. But if he has teleportation, I think it's very localized, and it's a very short distance kind of teleportation, because Jason can't, if you're running from Jason, you're a mile off, he's not going to just suddenly appear. It will still take him time. Like, he didn't just suddenly appear, Jason didn't just suddenly appear right outside, right in the cabin when he got freed from the car in Freddy versus Jason. Now, there's other instances where it does look like he teleports. He shows up by that guy's bed and just kills him and disappears. But they showed that the door was open, so he clearly came inside the door to get in the house. So he didn't just show up. And I think he just disappeared as well. Why he didn't kill the girl, I honestly don't know. Maybe he just didn't feel in the mood. Or it could have been the fact that Freddy was technically still controlling him at that point. Either way, Jason is still insanely strong and powerful. So the question is John skilled enough to take these versions of Jason down? Well, let's go from weakest to strongest. The human Jason, yeah, I'd say with enhanced magical senses and all of his abilities, including hypnosis, deception, where he can maybe kind of set a trap, teleportation, telekinesis, sigil magic. He claims powerful enough to kill a guy. Pyrokinesis, power absorption, energy casting. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that if he really needed to, he could kill the rebooted Jason. So that's not a question in my mind whatsoever. The main series Jason, and by extension, Freddy versus Jason, because he's pretty much a zombie at that point. Yeah. The question is, would he be able to exorcise the demon Jason? Yeah, I would say he probably would be able to do that. He might have to avoid him a little bit, but honestly, binding him probably wouldn't be any difficult. And it wouldn't have any difficulty to it. It's still there's binding magic, there's sealing magic, and he has all those types of magic. So, Yeah, I would honestly say yeah, he probably wouldn't have any issue with Jason X, not Jason X. It always Jason Goes to Hell, Jason, or Freddy versus Jason, Jason. Honestly, he just has to keep a distance because he's really kind of a lesser version of Solomon Grundy when you really break it down. Guy keeps coming back and kind of gets a little stronger every time, kind of like Solomon Grundy, and John Constantine can definitely handle Solomon Grundy. Um, but I think the only one that he has a problem with, um, and so far, there's really only one Jason that you would have any problem with, and that's Jason Uber Jason. That's Jason X Jason. And this is just because of the sheer durability of this Jason. Like this is a version of Jason where if he throws energy attacks at him, I don't know how much damage that's going to do. And now, granted, Jason X Uber Jason is not like infallible by a stretch of the means. Um, he can do blinding light, which is powerful enough to harm a group of vampires, but that could blind Jason temporarily. Blast him with a ball of electricity, sure, but how much damage would it do when he can survive re-entry into your planet's atmosphere and just look normally fine? So there's that. Of energy construction with shields and bridges, as well as an actual energy blast. Stopping time would be useful, definitely. Illusion creation to keep him at bay, certainly. The thing is, he can honestly just demon summon him, or summon a demon to attack him. So is there a demon strong enough to get someone that could take down Uber Jason? Maybe, but at what cost? Honestly, what's the cost of a demon summoning a demon that's strong? Is it worth it? Disintegration. I mean, he did incinerate a cultist, so I guess the disintegration spell could work, provided it works on inorganic material too. Because that's the thing. Like he's more machine now, the man, twisted and mechanical. That's kind of like, yeah, he is kind of more machine now. Exorcism in this version of Jason, we don't know it has any sort of like demonic thing to him. Mind control, maybe it could work, but sigil war magic would probably do something. And telekinesis, honestly, what I could really see John Constantine doing in this scenario, because while he may have some techniques powerful enough to actually stop him, I think it'd be more likely that, you just send him away, send him to a planet or something, or a different dimension. Send him to hell. He just sends him somewhere, and Jason's gone. So, Constantine, I think, would really have to be careful. Now, Constantine also deals with a lot of more supernatural stuff and a lot more superhero-esque stuff than, say, anyone in Jason's world does. So he'd be a lot more well put together to take on Jason and, like, avoid attacks. But, yeah, I would say that, yeah, Constantine could beat Jason. Constantine would beat Jason, honestly. So, yeah, the only one who would give him any real problem is Uber Jason. And quite frankly, I think it's just a matter of him outlasting him long enough to either send him somewhere or get his spell power enough to actually waste his ass. So, my money would be on John Constantine, but that is just my opinion. What do you think of the cons below? Let me know. Till then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time.